Good evening, lamb chops. It is I, your favorite fluffy vampire, Blooma. Hope we're all doing well. It's been a minute since we did some Higurashi, huh? Or at least it feels like a minute. I don't know. Maybe it's only like a week ago. But anyway, starting chapter 2. Let's get into it. Not a lot happened in chapter 1 from what I'm remembering. Just kind of that setup that this is going to be a more Satoko focused. And that Satoshi, quote unquote, ran away, her big brother. Okay. Anyway, lunchtime has finally arrived. Young gleefully announced the beginning of lunch. Oh! What happened in the previous book? Let's see. To recap it. It started with them doing one of their games, and Keiichi won a doll. And he was like, wow, this is really cute. And like, he saw Mion was looking at it, and Reina was looking at it. And he was like, well, I don't want it. And Mion didn't win anything. So, but wait, Mion doesn't like cute things, so he gave the doll to Reina. And this started Mion on this thought that like, oh my god, he doesn't see me as a girl. Like, I want him to see me as a girl. And so like, she started switching places with her twin sister, Shion. Because Shion was a lot more girly. Keiichi was very much more treating her as like a feminine, girly girl, you know? And so eventually though, we learned that Mion and Shion are in fact two different people. And so they started going back and forth with him. We learned a little bit more about the Sonozakis and how their family kind of calls the shots around here, you know, in Hinamizawa and in the surrounding towns. Very Yakuza style, you know. And eventually, Rika and Satoko go missing. And we figure out through the details with the cops, and we learn through everything that Shion and Keiichi were going to be getting killed next. And we learn that Mion was the one doing these. So Mion killed Rika and Satoko in the last book. And then she also, when we found her, we were trying to talk her out of it, right? Trying to tell her to turn herself in. But she's like, just give me one last day with Keiichi. And Keiichi was like, okay. So then she leads him down into the torture cell. And she was just like, I just want to show you everything about me. I want you to know what happened. So she's explaining to him all the torture devices and all that shit. And we see Shion locked up in a cage. And we try and comfort her, get knocked out. We wake up in a torture device. But the cops by that time have found us. So after some like talking with Mion and how she's the demon, she's like, I'm the demon now. I'm not Mion anymore. The cops bust in. We get knocked out again. Wake up in a hospital. We get told that Shion actually died way later. Like, she died, like, days later or whatever. Like, the timeline wasn't making sense with what the detective was telling Keiichi about how she died, when Mion died, and how she died. They couldn't find Rika or Satoko's bodies, something like that, and when the cop leaves Keiichi alone in the hospital room to try and deal with all these thoughts of all his friends being dead, a very bloody and mangled Mion crawls up from under his bed and kills him. And that's kind of how it happened in the last book. There. Oh, hi, Risu. Oh, hi. Yeah, that's basically the big points. In the... What? Boy, what you talking about? Risu's making up his own stories. But yeah, so that's basically the big points from the last book. Alright.
Oh ho ho! Lunchtime at last. Someone here will have to play the punishment game, yes? Oh, the punishment this time, it's a little scary, so... Sorry, but Reina went all out making her bento.
Oh, hi, Muffin. The game's probably getting more cruel and cruel with each book. Oh, yeah, that could be true. That could measure up. In Reina's case, I don't think she'd lose, and if she wasn't taking it seriously.
Me. We tried our hardest too.
Satoko and Rika-chan made separate lunches today? Usually you have the same bento, but that won't do for the showdown today, will it? Yes, you're mixing stuff up. Yeah, it sounds like it, because I don't even know what that is. That she died trying to escape the police on the stairs. That doesn't sound right. Because the last thing we saw of Mion was her crawling up from underneath Keiichi's, like, hospital bed.
Yes, it's quite alright. Rika and I made sure to make separate ones. Wow, Satoko-chan and Rika-chan both tried really hard. How exciting.
What's a little surprising is that Kei-chan was able to make a bento. Good job, Kei-chan. That was full of copium, yeah. I mean, it was full of copium. It looks like you really can do it if you try. I scratched my head and gave her a dry smile. My bento today had been made entirely by Satoko last night. It had none of my personality, so there wasn't anything in there that I could praise me for.
What does Keiichi-kun's bento look like? Oh, I can't wait to see.
Don't expect too much. It's just the leftover rice and side dishes from last night.
Leftovers are the foundation of bentos. Now we'll know what. Now we'll know what your dinner was last night too. We'll kill two birds with one stone.
Was it really better to hide the fact that Satoko came over and made me dinner last night? Well, of course it was. If I revealed that I didn't make my own bento, I'd for sure end up paying the punishment game. Oh, hi, Jose. How's it going? Today's punishment game was to stand right up in front of the curry maniac, Chie-sensei, and say bad things about curry. Oh, hello, Any Matter. How's it going? Good, good. And one more thing. If you remember right, there was a thing in the second book with real demons or something. When you said she became a real demon, did you mean like for real demon or just like a metaphor? It's kind of up in the air. I guess it wasn't totally clear if she meant she was actually a demon or if she was just saying that because she had just let go of all goodness in her. Pretty good, good. The detective said that Mion died somewhere in her basement where the body was hidden and something like that. It was the time... Yeah, no, that's what I was saying, is that, like, the deaths didn't match up what Keiichi remembered. Like, Keiichi remembered Mion, like, coming and stabbing him, right? So, like, when the detective's like, no, she actually died a few weeks earlier, that's when he was like, I don't understand, you know? Who was that for, Katie? I got the meeting room for myself. Oh my god. But yeah, the thing with demons too that came up a lot in the second book was saying that the Sonozakis, like all the ones who inherit like the leadership of the clan had the demon in them, like the character for their names or whatever. So like Mion was like meant demon somehow. Wasn't it the same day Keiichi got stabbed? No. So like on the day Keiichi got stabbed is when we learned that Shion was also dead. The police were thinking she got pushed out her balcony window by Mion. But that didn't make sense, because then when the detective said, yeah, so you and Shion died today, but Mion actually died 2 weeks earlier. And we found her in the basement where she said Rika and Satoko's bodies were. So that's why Keiichi is super confused. He didn't understand how that could be possible. And to full disclaimer, it's not supposed to make total sense right now. I know it sounds really confusing, but like these are all, I kind of went over it when we did like the epilogue in the last book. Like we're reading through the questioning arcs. So like we're reading everything from Keiichi's perspective. And Keiichi, no offense my man, but you are a dumb bitch. Like he will not understand what's happening And we're not supposed to totally know either. We're just supposed to have these pieces, right, of the puzzle. So that way when we go through again, we're going to read the answer arcs, which is going to be from someone else's perspective. And in those perspectives is when we're going to figure out, oh, that's why Mion's body was found 2 weeks ago, but Keiichi saw her stab him today. You know what I mean? So, like, don't get too hung up if you're trying to figure it out. Just, the only thing you need to really, I guess, pick up from the second book is that Shion and Mion are different people. They are 2 different people. In the first book, Reina she was born in Hinamizawa, moved away, but had to come back. That's like the big thing you take away from that one, right? And in this one, we're going to learn about Satoko and her brother and like kind of get the vibe of what happened to Satoshi. Yeah? Aces? Cool. Where was I? It wasn't too different from telling someone to jump off a 100-story window. It was exactly the same as telling someone to die.
But, Mi-chan, how will we decide who wins and who loses in a bento showdown? Keiichi could have made his own too, so maybe we could call it a draw today? We could do that. The punishment game yesterday was sort of a whip to encourage Keiichi-san to cook for himself after all. And Keiichi made his own too, so it's a draw.
Well, yeah, you mix things up. It was when Keiichi and Reina visit Mion on the same day Mion died. Yeah. Kinda. Yeah, no, you're right. Reina did visit him, didn't she? Yeah, honestly, because the last book was so focused on Mion, I kinda forget what Reina was even doing. My simple bento with nice leftovers could never have stood up to everyone else's bento that made to win. I fully understood Satoko and Rika-chan's perspective, as they tried to end the showdown peacefully. However, the club president, Mion Sonozaki, would not be convinced by something like that. I wonder why you're all so optimistic. Leaving one of our showdowns in such a gray area is out of the question. Now that we've clashed, we must settle the score. Reconciling with a draw only happens in the Yakuza world. I knew you'd say that. There's no way we'd end it that way. With your battle of lust. You woke up early just to play Genshin and watch my stream? Oh, hell yeah! Thank you! I hope Genshin goes well, too. This was bad. At this rate, I was sure to be a sore loser. But, well, I didn't make this bento after all. Oh yeah, Mion, my beloved, and Risu's risen up Mion. Maybe I need to resign myself to the inevitable loss.
Okay, Mi. How are you gonna decide who wins?
It won't be fair if we grade each other's. Let's do an open judgment. Okay, everyone, assemble. Mion commanded everyone who had just started eating, using her club president voice. Come and judge our 5 bentos. Write your favorite 3 in a piece of paper and submit it. Understand? Everyone in class was used to being dragged into Mion's club activities. Yeah, came the energetic voices from here and there. Everyone already knew that the showdown this time involved an utterly fatal punishment game, and they were all invested into what would happen to whoever lost. Of course, they wanted a thrill of seeing something terrifying. Okay, everybody ready? Then I'll go first, alright? Ta-da! In an exaggerated fashion, Mion pulled the lid off her multi-tiered, ornate bento box. Mion or Shion? I'm voting for Shion. She's my favorite. Multiple cheers of joy erupted at the brilliant sight.
That's amazing! It's just like New Year's food.
It can't be. It has to be a lie. She must have switched the contents with a catered bento. Such a purely Japanese cooking. Mion Sonozaki couldn't have possibly made this. Both.
No, this wasn't easy for Mi-chan if she gets serious. She almost never gets this serious, though.
Just who do you think this old man is? Given enough time and ingredients, I could even reproduce the Manchu-Han Imperial Feast. The entire classroom gulped audibly. and everyone wrote down a score on the notepad with their hands simultaneously. It made sense. Just the visual impact would give her a perfect score. Well, I have one chocolate, but you can have two. I mean, fair. Alright, let's see Reina's next. Reina's are really good at cooking, too. Reina's bento always looks like flower arrangements.
Thanks, everyone. I'll reveal my bento now. Eh?
Reina's bento. It was a beautiful mix of two colors of eggs and minced meat, and it too was a bento staple, the Soboro bento. She had been through with the side dishes as well, and they were abundant in number. She had spent more time than usual on it, but it was an unassuming and total nonchalant. One couldn't ignore the household warmth in it that Mion's bento lacked.
If I may say, you've done it again. This should get quite a high score.
I should have known. It may look rigid, but there isn't anything to deduct points from. Amazing as always. Once again, everyone of the judges wrote down on their notepad at the same time. They seemed to be the some who were revising their opinions when compared to Mion's score too. The whole classroom seemed split between Mion and Reina, and on everyone's face it was clear. They were all wanting to tasting them rather than just scoring them.
Then I'll be next. Yeah! I will now reveal mine.
Come to think of it, Satoko and Rika-chan ate with me last night at my house. It was impressive that they still made a bento. Both their bentos were clearly lacking compared to Mion's artfulness and Reina's perfection. However, because of that, you could sense from them how hard they worked. The toppings were a little on the rough side, but you could still feel that they tried their hardest. It made you feel a little biased, so you'd give them more points. A few people struck by that once again and revised their opinions that they wrote the scores on their note paper. Satoko and Rika-chan, you both made really good bentos today. They might not measure up to Reina or Mion's craftsmanship, but when you think about that, they're pretty amazing. Satoko and Rika-chan glanced at each other and grinned happily.
This is a secret, okay?
Eh? What? When Satoko told me, I broke off from the others and secretly looked for my classmates' bento boxes. There, Tomita-kun's and Okumura-kun's bento boxes. I took a quick peek inside and, half the contents were missing. Not bad. In the end, Satoko and Rika-chan hadn't made a bento today. A bold move that they got Tomita-kun's and Okumura-kun to share their bentos with them. Hey, Tomita-kun, Okumura-kun, how did they buy you out? What are you saying, my Bara-san? When you bought out? For what? That's right. It's not like we traded them our due to watering the garden for half our bentos. Curse you, Satoko. What an impudent trick. Satoko grinned, showing off her fang-like canines, and laughed in triumph.
Oh, this is something I learned from you, Keiichi-san.
Yes. How naive, buying them out with watering duty alone. They're men. If they're gonna buy them out, you needed something more spicy than that. For example, like giving them 3 tickets to walk Satoko and Rika-chan around like dogs all day, with them on all fours, wearing tails and leashes around their necks. Whoa, that might be enough to get me to do anything? As I was lost in my fantasies, Mion clapped me back on the shoulder and called me back into reality. Damn, it was just getting good. Alright, next up is Kei-chan's bento. I'm down to, we're all hoping for something pretty great because of your declaration yesterday. But how did it really turn out?
Keiichi can do it if he needs to. Reina was really excited for today.
Ugh, they're all looking forward to it. But it's really just leftovers from dinner last night. I didn't even make it either. How was that supposed to stand up to Mion and Reina and the others? Ugh, that's it. Feast your eyes on this! Ha! I tore the lid off my bento box. There weren't very many cheers. Well, I guess there wouldn't be.
Keiichi-kun, you tried your hardest too. Reina can tell how hard you worked.
Reina, don't feel like you need to compliment me.
How did this happen? Was Keiichi-san actually a hard worker after all?
Well, I mean, I want to acknowledge how hard you tried, but for this showdown, it doesn't matter. Mion's cold, mean laugh. It was like it spoke for everyone's opinion, just like that.
Keiichi-kun, you did really well considering it was your first challenge, you know? I think maybe everyone should rate his a little higher. But for the showdown, it doesn't matter.
Alright, Kei-chan. If you have any last words before we tally up the results, I'll listen to them now. What do you mean by last words? Oh god. Oh, I've been playing Zenless Zone Zero. I like it a lot. After all, for today's showdown, you just need to avoid coming last. If you do well enough, then maybe you'll be able to warm out of the punishment game.
You are implying that Keiichi-san's bento is going to take last place, aren't you?
No, this old man wasn't trying to say anyone's bento came in last or anything. Using Daddy Wolf, yeah, no, same, Ryusu, same. I saw a post this morning that was like, there's 2 wolves inside you, and Lycon from Zenless Zone Zero is about to be 3rd. I'm like, Jesus Christ. He's about to be the 3rd. Oh. Mion cackled repulsively. In contrast, Satoko's smile was growing somehow awkward. Alright. This bento was filled with last night's side dishes. That means it was basically a bento that Satoko made. And Mion outright said it would come in last place.
Mi-chan, aren't you being a little mean? Poor Keiichi-kun.
Reina.
Kei-chan knew he wouldn't lose today because of the bento shown beforehand, didn't he?
Daddy Wolf, go, please.
I don't think there's any reason to go easy on him, do you? Satoko? Yes, you are right. And he came here with this mess. It makes me laugh. Wait, Satoko-chan, you can't laugh at him. But that bento is just so ridiculous, I can't help but laugh. These side dishes look like they were bought from a shop. It's really disillusioning.
Look, this one was just taken out of the can, wasn't it? This cucumber here isn't cut cleanly, like the knife didn't go all the way through. Kei-chan, you never used a knife, did you? Your lack of experience is apparent.
No, this goes beyond a simple lack of experience.
The presentation is fairly monotonous as well. It's almost a shock to see such a lack of taste. It was my first experience putting food into a bento box, so of course it's not going to look good. Now you have to, yes. Still haven't got Alan? Me neither, bro. I want everyone from Victoria Housekeeping. They're my favorite faction. You got another copy of Daddy Wolf? Oh my, Ryusu, share the luck, bro. Like, save some for the rest of us. Oh, hi, Natsuki. Hello, welcome in. Lucky, yeah, exactly. Share the love, Ryusu. My god. Kei-chan. There's a bigger problem with how you put it in the box. Tomita, Okamura, explain please. Tomita-kun and Okamura-kun were chosen from out of the underclassmen. Tomita-kun quickly adjusted his glasses and took a step forward. Natsuki from Toki Toki Literature Club? Oh yeah, shit, we got a celebrity in here, Natsuki! Yeah, Risu, again, share the love, bro. My goodness. I've gotten 1 S rank so far. And I looked at our levels last night. Don't think I didn't notice. You're level 8, and I'm like level 20-something. I've gotten 1 S rank. And look at you over there like, how do I hold all these daddy wolves? Like, stop! The fatal flaw in my Bara-san's bento. It's the coloration. As you know, there are 3 primary colors forming from the basics of all colors. So if you want a well-balanced color scheme, then excluding white and black, you need these 3 colors. And nevertheless, if you remove the white and the black from my Bara-san's bento, all that will be left is dark green. Dark green? How do I share my luck? I don't know. Told you, I know, but like, just seeing that like you have this many characters when and you're only that far, it's like I must have wished or like done more signal searches than you, and you still have like quadruple the amount of S ranks I have. That's what I'm saying, bro. Meanwhile, I'm just being pampered by the mommy construction. Bro. I mean, I did get my second pick. Like, Wolfman's #1 go-to that I really, really want. But my second one was Nekomata, and I did get her, so I can't complain. And I do have her, like, best in slot 4-star, or sorry, A-rank weapon. I do have that one, the Starlight Ranger one. So I did get that. So I can't complain too much. But damn. The soundtrack's matching Luma's emotion, right? Like, it knows. Higurashi gets me. No one will want to eat if you describe it like that. I had forgotten. Tomita-kun and Okamura had been bought out by Rika-chan and Satoko, so they were trying their hardest to let them win and make me lose, weren't they? God, what strong wills they have. It was charming, if only because they were working so hard despite having been bought out. The side dishes here have no spirit in them either. They're all pre-packaged or canned food. In other words, out of the 3 necessary requirements for a bento, love, spirit, and taste, we can assert that my Bara-san's bento is lacking 2 of these. The classroom, convinced by the elucidation of the mystery they were thoroughly baffled with, raised the mysterious groans of admiration. You got Daddy with you? Risu, I swear to God, bro, stop bringing. Where were you people getting these 5 I know, right? I only got 1. 1! I've done like 90 pulls. I feel like I've been there so... Damn. No heart and no spirit. It's decided then. Keiichi Maibara.
This may sound cold, but if you realized how much fun cooking is because of all this, Keiichi-kun, isn't that enough? Enough?
90 pulls? Yeah, like I think so. Like that's all I've been able to get, like just going through free-to-play, playing the game and such. I think that's like about how much I've done. In any case, everything is fine as long as I'm not doing the punishment game.
Reina was giving a dry smile as well. It's been settled, Keiichi-san. You're gonna be the one doing the punishment game.
She laughed in such a vile manner, but she didn't look like she meant it. I knew that Satoko was speaking ill of a bento that she'd practically made herself in front of the whole classroom, and I could tell how painful that laughter was. It's Mommy Riden who's helping me get the characters. Okamura-kun said before the bento lacked spirit, but among all the bento laid out here today, there wasn't a single one that has much spirit as this one. This meal, that she made for me yesterday in such a good mood, though it looked like she was in a bad one, I wouldn't let it get to this slander.
Well then, last place, Keiichi-san. Please admit your honest defeat already.
Could you wait a moment? When I began to speak in a low voice, the expressions on all the members in the club changed. Mion clicked her tongue. This man was baring his fangs for the last moment again. My bento was defeated because it lacked spirit? That's how you explained it. Am I wrong, Okamura-kun? Okamura-kun, who had suddenly been placed in the spotlight, looked flustered for a moment, but then immediately, he stammered in reply that I was right. How do you measure spirit? By difficulty? By effort? By sweat or tears? By its manifestation? And how would you rate these burns that are still on my hands?
Wow, Keiji-kun, those are oil burns.
Great, the burn marks from when I almost caused a fire, so it looked like it was having a ton of trouble cooking. Oh, what do you mean by 90 pulls? Oh, we were talking about a gacha game, so it's like you tried getting a character 90 times in a gacha. That's what I meant. I could clearly tell the classroom was forced to acknowledge the effort I put into it. I see. To turn your failures at cooking due to the lack of skill into scars of hard work instead. As I thought, I cannot falter around this man. That's right. I lack skill. I'm so bad at cooking that my grandstanding yesterday was pitiful. But I didn't run away. I fought. And I delivered these results. Is that not spirit? What do you think?
Reina wants to acknowledge it. Nobody can keep on going if their defiant spirit doesn't get involved.
Alright. Barisu. The girls in the class started to nod in agreement. Okay, the tables are turning. But Tomita-kun and Okamura-kun, battled by the objects of their unrequited affection, weren't about to lose either. They shifted onto the counterattack, clearly exceeding the price they were paid.
I see. I understand your feelings, my Bara-san. However, if spirit was all that mattered in cooking, the world wouldn't need chefs.
That's right. If a chef brought you a burnt steak and said they put their spirit into it and tried really hard, would you still pay them? You wouldn't, would you? It's the same thing. That's right, and that's how it goes. The male students took Tomita-kun and Okamura-kun's side. They have a point. What about consideration? Even if I did get a totally black steak, if I knew how much the mother who had made it struggled, I would eat it. I would eat it all. Clap, 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 clap. This time, the female students in the class took my side. Good. Now we're even. Besides, a bento is a refinement of one's love given form. It only means something if the other person feels that way. Does your bento make you feel that way, my Bara-san? No, it doesn't make me feel that way.
You're mean!
The girls in the class began to boo loudly at his remark. Not even Okamura-san was panicking. Order, order. Will the spectators please refrain from making remarks? Your Honor, in order to prove how much of my spirit has gone into the bento, I call Miss Ryugu Reina, an authority on the culinary arts, to the stand.
Reina thinks this bento has spirit in it. It might be rather artless in places, but I think the cooking is just an outward appearance.
The girls in the class again gave cries of support as they all applauded. In response, all the men in the class began to boo. Your Honor, the opinions of my Bara-san and Ryugu-san are extremely sentimental and aren't following with common sense. They were unsuitable to use as evidence. You back? Welcome back. Order, order. The prosecution's objection is sustained. Go ahead. Let's replace the bento in question with a birthday present, for example. Let's say on my birthday, I, Tomita-kun, received a hand-knitted sweater, and he, Okamura, received a bookstore gift with a certificate for 10,000 yen. That felt strangely real. Was it actually just an example? Common sense dictates which of them has the spirit. It is, of course, the hand-knitted sweater. If he went back to the bento, this would be a handmade side dish, and the gift certificate, which is nothing more than money, allows you to buy things. In other words, it's the same as a simple, meaningless canned goods. Keiichi's becoming ace attorney, he really is. The boys and girls all began to argue amongst themselves about presents. They were all thinking as they received the presents in the past. Damn, Tommy-kun, he's changed the subject of being that could easily grab everyone's attention. Not bad. I'll lose the initiative at this rate. Objection! This matter regards the spirit put into the bento. It is entirely different from a birthday present, as they are unique situations. Overruled. Will the prosecution please continue? Damn. Now then, what's important here is the fact that the spirit and the giver and the spirit of the receiver are totally different,
Between the handmade sweater that looks a little bit askew and the 10,000 yen bookstore gift certificate placed here before your very eyes, what would you say is a better choice? The gift certificate, right? It's 10,000 yen. 10,000. Can you calculate how many comic books you could buy with that? You could instantly complete a full collection of around 10 volumes. Dozens of happy, humorous, slightly perverted manga. The bliss of your soothed heart. It can't be compared to the sweater. The boys unanimously praised with applause. Materialistic brats. Ugh. But all guys at that age are like that. Even I would choose the gift certificate over a sweater in that case. Hey, wait. Weren't you guys the ones who said it was about love, spirit, and the taste from the start? Since when did the taste trump all? That's the stance they're taking now. Ugh. I can't believe this has demonstrated that the spirit in the giver and the spirit of the receiver have no casual relationship. Yes. No matter how much my Bara-san struggled to make this bento, that cannot enter into consideration for the rest of us who are in the receiving end. Wow. You think about it, I honestly wonder where the teacher is during this classroom hygiene. It's like bird my man. The teacher is in the teacher's lounge during lunchtime. Mere sophistry, Tomikun. It has plenty of spirit. Whether that gets through to you or not is the receiver's problem. That's right! Boo! Taste is more important. Enemy of the women! What was that, ugly? And now the courtroom is in chaos. But I can't allow myself to lose. And not only to avoid the punishment game, but also to protect Satoko's honor. Now then, do the defendants have a response to give? Slowly and strongly I nod and step up to the dais. Tomikun, Okumura-kun, do you too? I really think you can beat me with mere words. The prosecution just said that they should value the gift without biasing the spirit of the giver. Correct? At some point, I began speaking formally. Yeah, that's right. No matter how much you labored to make the bento, the labor should not factor into our grading. Then I have a question for the prosecution. If I, my Bara, were to take a bento I made for today and place it beside one that was bought from the store, would both of these be given the same score? The prosecution hesitated to speak. Gotcha. That's right. A convenience store bento doesn't even come close to a handmade one. No matter how badly it is, it has far more spirit than a bento you just bought, and whoever could have bought. Yeah, the teacher's just waiting out there waiting for them to finish. Waiting for them to discurry. Oh yeah, no facts. You see, the spirit is being graded, meaning the spirit the cook put into the bento has already reached its recipients. Admit it. With those impactful words, drawn in the air behind me, a pointed finger. The girls led by Reina broke into applause. Some of the boys were admitting it too. Ugh. I'll admit it. You admitted it? You admitted it, right? Then let's move on to the convenience store bento has no spirit on it. What exactly is the spirit in a bento in the first place? Objection! My Bara-san is trying to deceive the court by using abstract expression. Objection overruled. This sounds interesting, so listen until he's done. Got it. Now I'll show you the two differences between us. Your Honor, I'd like to call Miss Rika Furude to the stand as a witness. Me. Even for Rika-chan, who must have seemed like a bolt out of the blue, there's no doubt she never dreamed to the point that my spear would be aiming at her. But Rika-chan, you said it before. For this showdown, it doesn't matter. Rika Furude-san, your bento today was very well made. It looks delicious. Me? Yes. Satoko and Rika-chan's bentos have been made of the half of Tomito-kun's and Okumura-kun's. The prosecution's faces turned pale, but they were too late. Reina, would you bring Okumura-kun's bento over here? Huh? Oh, okay, sure. Your Honor, my bento has no relevance in the case. Overruled. Your Honor, I'd submit Okumura-kun's bento box as evidence. Look at it. Look at what's inside. Huh? There's only half in here. It's neither about whether or not there's half. Please, look closely. See? Ah! They're exactly the same.
Your Honor, you've seen it. Miss Rika Furude's bento is stolen for Okamura-kun's. There is no way such a thing could have spirit in it. No, that's just a coincidence. It's already obvious. Spirit. It's a game of catch between the giver and receiver. The bento box, then, is the ball. That bento was something Okamura-kun had given from my mother to his son. That means Okamura-kun's the only one who can feel the spirit in this bento box. Now that that's been disturbed and been stolen, it no longer has any spirit. Dun dun dun! This really is just turning into Ace Attorney. Yeah, it actually is.
Huh? What? Is that true? Rika-chan, is that true? Me. Nipa.
I see how it is. Mion the judge folded her arms and began to hum. I couldn't even take a guess as to what Mion was laughing about. Frankly, I didn't know whether I would win or lose. Okay. Before announcing my judgment, I'll start from the top. Take that! Hold it! Yeah. Shh. The entire classroom quieted. First, from an objective standpoint, there is no doubt that the bento of the accused, Keiichi Maibara, must be seen as poorly made. This is something that the grading results clearly display. But, as Kei-chan said, cooking is not all about taste. The spirit put into this should be considered subtle seasoning. For grading, though, that would only amount to a few points. It's so subtle that's not enough to alter the results. Now then, I'd like to mention the original reason for today's bento showdown. What was the reason for it? That's right. We started to see whether the accused, Keiichi Maibara, could cook for himself and measure to the result.
Yeah, that's right. Keiichi-kun did make his own bento.
That stung my consciousness a bit, but for the showdown it didn't matter. So the whole basis behind the showdown was to cook a meal for yourself. In other words, whether or not the meal was homemade. Rika-chan neglecting to do that is a much bigger problem than how good her bento is. In other words, is she disqualified?
Nipa.
Rika-chan let out Nipa, looking as though she had prepared herself for this outcome. Don't take it personally, Rika-chan. At our club, things like that don't matter.
Keiichi did well, like I thought. You tried your hardest until the very end.
Rika-chan demanded I lower my head. Then she pet it. How much you want to bet the fact that he didn't actually cook that bento comes up? Yeah, maybe. Just like how when he didn't give the doll to Mion. Yeah, I could see it. And with that over with, the case is closed. Today, last place goes to Rika Furude! Whoa! That miraculous turnaround. And last place went to Rika-chan, the one who everyone had least expected. The whole classroom went wild.
I'm amazed you managed to avoid coming in last place with such a terrible bento.
Satoko looked at me hatefully, but spoke in a vague kind of voice.
There's no way I'd come in last. There's nothing in that bento that would deserve last place. But, it's got ready-made side dishes and canned goods and has no style and...
Grab. Satoko was speaking more and more poorly of herself as time went on, so I roughly grabbed her head and began to stroke it. I told you, spirit is important. This bento isn't all about appearance. It's got all kinds of flavors.
But spirit isn't the only thing. It tastes totally weird and...
What about it is weird? I thought it was great. It was absolutely great. That's why I packed it. If dinner last night had been bad, then I would have never brought it to school. I would have come here with some bread and a milk carton.
But...
Oh, just shut up already. I caressed her head, swinging it from side to side. At some point, Rina had come up behind us. She was giggling to herself. That was the face of someone who had known everything from the beginning. When did you realize I hadn't made it?
When you showed us your burns, I guess. I mean, there's nothing in your bento that would have needed oil. Reina-san, don't you think you're misunderstanding something? I didn't do anything. Huh? Satoko-chan, you weren't the only one who made this bento? Then did Keiichi couldn't make it by himself after all? Okay, then I guess he did. Reina smiled ruffishly and turned from Satoko to me. When you cut cucumbers, you hold the knife like this and go like this.
Satoko being tsundere is my cup of tea. Oh, hell yeah. This lecture was clearly not meant for me.
But you've gotten a lot better since the last time you showed us. I see you've been studying. If you keep this up, I bet you'll be able to make better and better dishes in no time.
She continued saying words clearly meant for Satoko while facing me instead. Satoko was wearing an ambiguous look and couldn't even nod her head at her.
Anyway, no matter what anyone says, I like the way your bento is today. And I'm not going to share it with anyone else either. I'll eat the whole thing by myself. Wow, how greedy. Reina wants to try some too.
As we were back and forth, Satoko rubbed her eyes though she was drowsy and then announced to Mion and everyone else.
Excuse me. The truth is, I got Tomita-kun's to give me some of his bento. Stupid.
Hojo, what are you saying? If she'd kept it a secret, then at least she could have been saved. Tomiko-kun looked at her with an expression filled with regret and surprise. Huh? Is that true? Really? Oh my. Mion spun her finger around and pointed to the hallway, sentencing Satoko to the punishment game as well. Satoko left the classroom behind her, completely prepared, although she was going with Rika-chan on an errand.
I can't let Rika go alone. I'll accompany her to the very depths of hell.
You don't need to go that far.
My word, Keiichi-san really is terrible too. He merely only Rika like that. He is truly a rotten person.
Reina knew from the start. Yeah, Reina's pretty perceptive. I didn't mean... I just couldn't return Satoko's kindness with malice.
Hey, Satoko really is silly.
Rika-chan spoke so she could hear, grinning happily.
Now then, let us be off, Rika. Punishment games are one of our duties as club members.
Satoko seemed awfully happy, not frustrated in the slightest, like she always was when she lost. Damn. Rika-chan's right after all. Everyone here is a moron. Satoko is showing a dead flake here. I don't like it. Mion, I'll come clean too. I didn't make my bento today. It was the same, so I'm gonna go with them. For the punishment game. Huh? Even you, Kei-chan. What's going on?
Good luck. With the punishment game, I mean. I'll get the first aid kit ready.
You know, to go that far, because just being like, it's okay, I go to hell like twice a week, I don't really need an escort. Yeah, exactly. Ugh. Oh, call an ambulance in advance, will you? And maybe a hearse, just in case. Leaving a bewildered Mion and a happily smiling Reina behind the classroom, I went into the hallway.
What are you doing? You finally won for once. I had no idea you had such odd taste for these punishment games that you'd go as far as to volunteer yourself for one.
I guess so. It's a little much for a hobby, huh? Call an ambulance, but not for me. Yeah.
I swear. I think you're underestimating this one.
For one thing, but grave harm might actually befall you, Keiichi-san.
I hope you're ready to have 1 or 2 ribs broken.
It sounds like it would hurt. I don't like getting hurt.
Keiichi-san, you just stand there and nod along, okay? Rika and I will smooth it over. I swear. I can't believe I have to look after you after during the punishment game. Seriously.
I already knew her pouty behavior was a sign that she had actually been in a really good mood, so it made me want to smile. Hey. I do want to eat some vegetable stir-fry, Satoko. Can you make it?
What? Well, there's nothing I can't do if I put my mind to it. She can make it very well. I really like Satoko's stir-fry. She was uneasy at first, but once she got the assurance from Rika-chan, she turned back and looked at me with the once more confident eyes. It's settled then. Let's go shopping for stuff after school today. I don't really have any idea what to buy after all. That's true, isn't it? I think it's still too early for you to go shopping at the supermarket, Keiichi-san. It would make me anxious if I wasn't watching.
And Satoko makes me anxious that she'll buy the wrong things if I'm not watching.
Rika!
The conversation continued as we walked, until we arrived before the door of the teacher's lounge. Okay. Let's get this punishment game over with and discuss the menu for tonight.
Meh.
Rika-chan gleefully grabbed onto my arm. In turn, I pulled Satoko to me, grabbing her shoulder with my other hand. We'll all be together in the death. I won't let anyone die alone.
We're all together. I won't let anybody die alone. What an indiscreet thing to say. I want no part in something so disturbing.
She may have sounded annoyed, but she was so happy it was going to make me blush. Alright. Just beyond this door is the world after death. However, we shall return. All of us will.
Yeah, everyone will. Then, let us sally forth.
Slam. We opened the doorway to the world of death. And like she did every day, just as the sun rose in the eastern sky, Chie-sensei was eating curry for lunch. It was store-bought, but she made a point of eating a different brand every day. Oh wow, we get a teacher sprite! Yeah, nice! Got a bag of chips, some chicken, rice, curry mix. That should be good. Oh my god. Oh my Baraka Furuta-san and Hojo-san? Is something the matter? I don't know. I blinked and like I wasn't really looking. I thought she was holding a death note. I was like, holy shit, Higurashi getting wild. Woo! Yeah. She appeared to be in the middle of a moment of supreme bliss, her mouth full of her beloved curry. Mommy. And we were to pick a fight with her. What a crime this punishment game would be. However, it was just what we had to do. For that was the rule of our club. The three of us held each other's shoulders tightly once more. Alright, let's do this. Ready?
What do you mean, ready? Keiji-san, you're going to stay quiet. Rika and I will handle everything. And trust your life to me for now.
Go for it.
Yeah!
What are you all doing? We could see 2 or 3 question marks popping up above the teacher's head. Alright, Satoko. This is the only time I'll trust you with my life. Because I'll be shutting my eyes tightly and only thinking about what we'll be having for dinner. I'm leaving it to you. Satoko inhaled deeply. And so?
Hey! You over there! Your curry is shit! Fuck your bitch-ass curry!
In the end, my selfish request was readily granted. As Satoko muttered complaints under her breath, quite merrily, she came with me to the store. Rika-chan didn't come with us. She said that she had a thing she wanted to do or something. I believed her when she told me, but when I really thought about it, I started to think maybe she was just being considerate towards Satoko in her own way. Without Rika-chan here, Satoko was prouder and more loquacious than ever? What?
Do you understand? Supermarkets will put things on sale when it gets near closing time. For example, you can't have stir-fry without some pork, and if you want to wait a little longer, it'll be marked half off. They can't sell meat or fish once it's not fresh anymore. So they make it cheaper, the last-ditch effort not to have anything left over. Of course, every veteran housewife is familiar with this concept, and when you get close to happy hour like we are now...
And it wasn't listening to her, but she was telling me all this quite proudly. Every time I seemed surprised at something, or made an affirming grunt in the place of conversation, Satoko would say,
"You don't know anything, do you, Keiichi-san?"
and the smile very happily in spite of her complaints. She led me by the hand to all sorts of stalls, one after another. She was in such a supreme mood that just being with her cheered me up. Merely being pulled into Sakoko's pace was a lot of fun. Hey, why don't we just go to the economy size pack? Oh, there's a real good looking one with cheese in it over there.
Keiichi-san, you have no financial sense.
Love the small sundry gremlin. Yeah.
It's way over our budget. We don't have enough money.
Satoko pushed a handful of receipts in my face. Pfft. Why can't Satoko do these kinds of mental calculations when she's at school? Trap. Should we buy a load of normal ones or a few of the better stuff with cheese in it? This is quite troubling.
Calm down. For boys your age, it's wiser to just quantity over quality.
Satoko, you're being way too strict. A man's heart desires both quality and quantity. Why can't you understand?
No matter the size of the man's heart, his wallet won't be any bigger. I swear. Hey, stop clinging to the glass so stubbornly.
After enjoying ourselves in such an exchange, we started to hear energetic voices coming from over the butcher we visited earlier. I could see a handful of housewives flooding the place.
Oh no! If we don't hurry, all the half-off pork will be gone. Oh, ow!
Don't pull me. Don't pull on my neck. Satoko really seemed like she was having fun. She looked like a kid who had grabbed her family's hands while running toward the amusement park attraction. In the end, the bag of pork we obtained was no normal, but almost hurt, but I knew that it would taste absolutely delicious. Yeah, the best little sister. Has a point, my wallet isn't any bigger. Yeah, exactly. The cicadas had come out at some point, and the Higurashi were singing in a chorus. The air was clear and it felt good. Our silhouettes stretching out on the ground as we made a really wonderful picture. We had filled our bicycle baskets to the brim with our shopping bags. They only contained ingredients and various other foodstuffs. Even so, every last thing packed in sort of looked really happy and made me feel really happy in turn. Going shopping for dinner seems pretty sensible too. It makes you really enjoy your meals. I can't wait to eat.
That's part of cooking for yourself as well. Dinner starts while you're shopping.
I'm so excited for this. Vegetable stir-fry isn't even in my mom's cookbook. I never get to eat it unless we're at a Chinese place, so I'm really looking forward to it.
That is indeed a pity. Then today, I will present you with an especially tasty dish. Normally, right about now...
Oh wait, shit. Normally right about now was the time I would start messing with her. But I didn't. Yeah, I bet you'll end up making something really great. I'm really looking forward to it. She stammered for a second. Satoko had been prepared for me to start making fun of her right then, too. And when it didn't come, she was surprised. Or maybe she stammered for some other reason. I don't know. But I immediately knew she wasn't feeling anything bad.
Yeah. I'll deliver an extraordinarily delectable dish. You better look forward to it.
Real smooth, Keiichi. Yeah. As Satoko and I rode our bikes back, I had a thought. Was I this sort of person? Until now, I would have lashed back at Satoko right away if she did something to me. Yeah, that was the kind of relationship we had. We'd poke at each other a little, then kick up a storm while nitpicking one another. At some point, that changed. We weren't playing our usual tit for tat. I didn't provoke her, We didn't fight. That went for Satoko, too. Satoko, who I thought I knew, hadn't been like this until now. Our relationship was changing little by little. That's what it was like. But it wasn't something I had to worry about. It was like our relationship had become a little bit happier, a little more charming. I wonder why we changed like this. Was she lonely? Was she projecting her older brother Satoshi, who hadn't returned home, onto me? Rika-chan told me about it yesterday. That it was probably exactly it. So, as my actions drew closer to Satoshi's, Satoko was returning to how she'd been when she lived happily with her brother. In other words, this Satoko was the real Satoko. Satoko who had been able to see her brother again, and had finally come back to normal. Now that I'd been playing the role of her brother, I discovered that she really could smile sweetly. But I wasn't Satoshi Hojo. I was Keiichi Maibara, a totally different person. I couldn't become her brother. I could come close, but I could never really get there. That was vaguely, somehow, a little sad. I was wearing Satoshi's mantle, and that would have come off one day. And I would doubtlessly put an end to this meager, nostalgic, peaceful time of Satoko's. A limited tranquility. A tranquility that would end one day. Putting it in those terms, it was really sad. I shook my head firmly and drove those thoughtless thoughts away.
What's the matter, Keiichi-san?
Sorry, it's nothing.
If it's nothing, then please don't act all strange like that. It makes me worried that you might have eaten something rotten.
Right. Sorry, Satoko. Nagging like always, but she seemed really happy. That mood of hers drew me in, putting a smile on my face. Hey, Keiichi Maibara, why don't we quit thinking about this having to end one day? If it will, then just think about it when that happens. There was one thing, however, that I could say for sure. As long as I smiled like this, Satoko's own smile would never wane. So as long as I stayed like this tranquility would never end. Satoshi would come back one day, too. That might happen a lot further away than I'd like, but until that day, what's wrong with me being a replacement for him? Saying that I'm not a real brother, so I can't become Satoshi, that was just an excuse. If I didn't just run away, Satoko would stay happy, live a fun life, of annoyed nitpicking. I don't know what happened to Satoshi, or what made him abandon Satoko and run away, but seeing Satoko in such a good mood made me think I could preserve it as long as I needed to. So this is what I thought. I wouldn't become Satoshi, I would become her replacement brother. This is it! This is the kind of stir-fry I was waiting for. It's great! It's absolutely great! The salt and the pepper and the broth, oh man! I could eat an entire pot of this.
Stop that, Keiichi-san. You're spilling food everywhere. The food isn't gonna run away. You don't need to eat so fast.
No, it will run away. The best and the freshest flavors are running away the moment the meal is completed. If you were to make 100 delicious things, then it would have the duty to taste every one of them. It's just good manners to do so.
You're feeling more than enough. So calm down and enjoy your food.
You're right, I'm sorry. No insults here. I meekly scratched my head, then put down my chopsticks and laughed along with her like it was funny. Spro, step up your brother game. I ended up doing most of the eating. Satoko was barely taking a bite. She seemed satisfied just by watching me enjoy the food so much. Whenever I filled my mouth with more of her delicious meal, Satoko looked glad. That let me enjoy the food even more. In this way, she kept smiling happily the whole time. Looking at her made me feel really happy as well. The time passed softly and gently. Before, I would have gone back and forth hurling insults at Satoko. In other words, we would have gotten into a fight right away. I'd never known I could feel such peace of mind by talking to her so honestly like this. It was a little bit happy about having discovered this new side of Satoko. For example, I was eating food that Satoko had made. There wasn't an inch of me that thought it was suspicious. Before, however, Satoko would have definitely put some sort of trap in this. I think I ate too much. I'm gonna go take a dump.
Hey, Keiichi-san! It's bad manners to say such words during a meal.
Then what should I say? I'm gonna go to the bathroom? The toilet? The laboratory? Satoko looked down, her face bright red, and pointed to the hallway. She said, just go. Whoops, my old habits seem to have made a comeback. But yeah, this wasn't all that bad either. No weird schemes, everything was just natural. And, while having such utterly unguarded thoughts, I went to the bathroom. Tug. My foot caught on something string-like. Huh? A kettle? Wash tubs? Satoko! She got me. I can't believe her. She always does that when I'm letting my guard down. I can't relax for a minute around her. Still, it was kind of funny. And I didn't really feel like getting angry. Satoko, laughing uproariously, came over.
See? See? I knew you would fall for it sooner or later.
Why, you little... I let my guard down for 1 second, and this is what I get? I picked up all the wash tubs that hit me in the head and went to hit Satoko with them. But then I doubled over with laughter that had been welling up inside me, and I just couldn't manage it. I wish things could go on forever like this. It's not like I was having the most fun since coming to Hinamizawa or anything, but it was probably the first time that I had spent my day just simply and comfortably. It really wasn't worth much. It was only a few hours after all. And as an only child, it was the first taste of having a sibling. Just washing dishes with her felt really nice. Side by side we washed, with the experienced Satoko doing most of the work as I threw in inappropriate words to add to the conversation. The scene was so commonplace, and yet so mild and warm. Maybe I had felt this kind of warmth before, too, in the past. I think I stood next to the sink with my mother like this when I was little. It made me feel nostalgic when I remembered it. It was the same sort of slow, easy time. It was tranquil. Such a quiet tranquility in the fact I wasn't uneasy or anything in self. Almost made me uneasy. Hey, wait, Keiichi Maibara. You feel uneasy about something just from spending time so leisurely? Damn, Higurashi with them feelings, right? There's nothing to feel uneasy about. I mean, why would I be punished for enjoying a gentle life? I'd do anything to keep these days going, and I would do anything bad, no matter what. I'd work hard for it, and endure much for it. So God? It's not much of a dream to want this kind of thing to keep going, but you can't grant it?
Oh? Is that not the telephone? Who could that be at this hour?
Oh, you're right. I hadn't noticed until she mentioned. I hurried to the stand and ran up to the phone. Who could be calling at a time like this? I did feel a little like the phone had interrupted my happy moment, but I still wanted to brag about how happy the time I was spending made me, no matter who it was on the other side. Hello? This is Maibara speaking. Hello? Keiichi? It's your mother. Oh, hi, Mom. What is it? It's pretty late. That was a little cold of me, when she was only calling because she was worried about her son. I couldn't help but give myself a dry smile. It sounds like you're doing just fine by yourself. I was worried that you wouldn't make dinner and went to bed hungry. Nah, I worked it out. Did you make dinner properly? What did you have tonight? It was vegetable stir-fry, rice, and miso soup. Bought stuff for it at the supermarket, plus a whole bunch of side dishes just for fun. Oh yeah, and listen to this. I got pork during the sale that got half it off. Haha. And things like housewife knows, right? And also, all this was thanks to Satoko. And not something I should be proud about. But still, I couldn't help but want to boast about it at dinner tonight. It seemed like Mom got the hint that I was in a really good mood. I see. I'm so relieved you're doing just fine. Oh yeah, another thing. Your dad and I finished up with our job. We think we'll be back tomorrow afternoon or evening. I see. You did well for 2 nights. We've been pulling all-nighters too. It was a lot of work, but we managed to fill the gap in your dad's mentors event. Oh, cool. That's good. Well done. Why did my parents coming home seem so disappointing? I knew a little bit of the reason, of course. This tranquility I never wanted to end was about to end so readily. It was a little painful. And after being that kind of souvenir I wanted from Tokyo, replying, anything edible would be great. I put down the receiver, and Satoko appeared, having finished up cleaning up her trap. You installed ZZZ, wish me luck? Oh my god, I wish you the most luck. At first, Satoko was in a very good mood, but when she saw me put down the receiver with an uncertain expression, her own clouded over a bit. It seemed like she'd gotten the gist of what my phone conversation had been about.
Was that your parents, Keiichi-san?
Yeah, Mom says they'll be back tomorrow.
Oh, that's good then. I won't have to go to the trouble of making you dinner tomorrow. Now you can enjoy the meals with just your family.
No, that's not it. When I think about the dull, plain dinner table coming back tomorrow, it's a little lonely.
You sure do live in luxury. A family sitting around the dinner table is the most fun way to enjoy a meal, after all.
Her brother Satoshi, running away from home, came to mind immediately. But there was no gloom in the way she said it. It was only for 2 days, but they were really enjoyable dinners. Well then. Next time I'll go to your house and visit.
Huh?
Satoko momentarily made a happy smile, but then a second later it changed to an expression of surprise.
My house is small and it's dirty. And the kitchen is as good as this one.
I don't mind. But, well, if you don't want me to, then I won't. Satoko shook her head firmly, her whole body expressing denial. I gotta get you to teach me a whole bunch of more stuff, too. I finally managed to figure out how to use the rice cooker and how to cook miso soup, after all.
That's right, isn't it? Perhaps we should use this opportunity to have you learn more about cooking.
It was so like Satoko to take this chance to proclaim that it was all for my sake. But there was no way to conceal her own enthusiasm. It was true that this gentle time could come to an end when her parents got back. There was no need to lament that, though. I can easily put the effort to continue our mild moments like this. Like yesterday, Satoko told me she didn't need to be escorted home. But Rika-chan wasn't with her tonight, so she would be going by herself. Everyone knew everyone else's face around Hinamizawa, so it wasn't like it was dangerous to go out at night, but it still wasn't good to send a girl on her way home alone. And at the very least, that's what I thought Satoko's older brother. I'll take you as far as the school, at least. There's more lights over in that direction.
It's really fine, alright? If someone bad shows up, I'll take them down with one finger.
There was no point in pressing her any more on the subject, so I took a handful of Satoko's hair and rubbed it vigorously. Come on, Satoko, don't complain so much.
Ugh.
Your Nini will bring you part of the way there. That's what I was about to say when I suddenly got embarrassed and my voice trailed off. Nini could only be a nickname Satoko gave to her older brother, and nothing else. I was about to use it pretty lightly, so I started to feel apologetic and a little ashamed.
Nini.
Huh? What did Satoko say?
Well, Keiichi-san seems like an older brother. That is what I said. It's not quite right, but you seem kind of alike, so I just... Oh.
Satoko laughed awkwardly and turned red in the face. Of course I was embarrassed when I saw her, because of the fact I was trying to act like her brother had gotten across. A warm feeling spread from my chest. It was completely different from romantic feelings or any of those more impatient emotions. It was much more graceful, quiet, and warm. And calm. Satoko. She still needed her Nini. I had initially thought Rika-chan was being sly by not coming today. But when I thought about it like this, I could feel a kind of thoughtfulness of her worrying about a good friend's feelings. Maybe Rika-chan had understood that she couldn't play the part of a brother herself. So then... Now, let's stop there, Keiichi Maibara. There's no point in thinking about it so hard. It means everyone feels the same way. It means everyone wants Satoko to be happy. Satoko was acting as though her Nini running away from home didn't bother her. Even though that wasn't actually the case. She was very sad. Not romantic feelings. He said these weren't like romantic feelings or like any other feelings. They were like a brother. Not romantic, Risu, don't panic. This is so cute! Yeah. Even though that wasn't actually the case, she was very sad and always waiting for him to come home, because Satoko was the stable person when she was the sister. In order to make her really be this level-headed, having a brother was something she couldn't do without. In other words, Satoko needed a brother. Nobody had the right to smile it away as childish immaturity. In fact, they deserved praise for being so close to each other as siblings. That role of a brother would be played by her real Nini, by Satoshi, but unfortunately, he wasn't here. So since I'm here, I'll play the part. And not with a guilty conscience, but a very natural one. Because... was there something wrong with seeing Satoko smile so happily?
What is it, Keiichi-san? You've been smirking for quite a while now.
Is it weird for me to look happy?
It isn't weird or anything, but, well...
The sound of the motor on her bike light was too loud and I couldn't hear what she said. Huh? What? What did you say?
Nothing. You really are just like Nini, you know? Keiichi-san.
Is that alright?
Of course. You're completely different from my real Nini. But, like, there's things you do the same. It's really a mystery.
The same. Do you feel lonely when you remember Nini? Once I said that, I thought for a moment that it wasn't absolutely the wrong thing to say, but Satoko didn't seem to mind one bit.
It's not that I'm lonely, since Keiichi-san is being my Nini for me right now.
As I was flustered for a moment at her hitting the mark, Satoko suddenly asked me a question in a calm voice. It was really quiet, composed, an adult question.
What is Rika?
It was quiet, but her voice sounded lonely somehow.
Didn't Rika ask you to act like my Nini for me?
Is that what you think?
Please don't take offense. Rika, strangely considerate of me, but it doesn't bother me that much.
I could say that for sure at least was a lie. Yesterday and today, Satoko had been happy spending time like this with me as siblings. And that was proof itself that she was lying about not getting to her. So I gave Satoko a light poke on the head. You're thinking too much, dummy. I'm me, Keiichi Maibara. I'm not your Nini. I'm not Satoshi Hojo.
I know that.
Despite her saying that, her expression seemed a little lonesome. At this point, Satoko herself had realized that her question had been the wrong thing to say. We didn't need to keep talking about something that Satoko regretted. So in order to cut the conversation short, I grabbed Satoko's head and pet her. Let's not talk about silly things like that. It's getting late, so get back home, brush your teeth, and go to bed. And rinse your mouth before sleeping, too. It'll keep you from getting a cold. Sorry, what? Protect this girl, right? That's what I'm saying. I love Satoko.
You're one to talk, Nini. Be sure to brush your teeth, okay? Rinse your mouth and wash your hands. Then get your books ready for tomorrow. And...
I wondered what kind of siblings Satoko and Satoshi were. I've never seen them together, but I could say without a doubt they were really close. As for the way in which they were close, well, it was probably quite like this. It was so cool that the day's heat seemed like a lie, and yet the moonlight was somehow faintly warm. The quiet chorus of the insects was pleasing to the ears. Oh man. New tips! New tips! Yeah. Be the end of that chapter. Aw. The achievement for finishing that chapter was called A Clear Conscience Wins the Day. View the new tips. I could see Tomikoku and Okamura-kun walking over the gym storehouse. They needed to get a bag of lime used to make the lines on the court for our next gym class. They were on duty today after all. But, in that storehouse, a terrible trap was awaiting them. Being on this side of the trap for once, it was really thrilling.
If you realize that the true pleasure of setting up traps, you'll have potential yourself, Keiichi-san.
The two of them fumbled around the gym storehouse's lock. Oh, what's this? Okamura-kun pointed at the part of the door that started whispering to Tomie-kun. Then, realizing something, they both jumped away from the door. Oh, Satoko, I think they found out. Did we mess it up?
I'd calculated they would notice the trap at the entrance. And of course, I calculated what action they would take now.
You can see why I like this one? Yeah, right? Ooh, just wait. According to Satoko, after they noticed the suspicious trap on the door, they would go around and try and get through the back window. And just as she had prophesized, they went around to the back. And just as she'd prophesied, they climbed up, opened the window, and tried to sneak in. Wow, amazing. Everything's exactly like you said. It got them. An explosion of pure white line burst out of the window. After a few moments, the two of them managed to crawl away from the window, both of them completely white.
This is the moment I live for. It tastes like honey.
But still, that was some trap. You would have had to know everything to set up something like that. Where they'd put their hands, their legs, where they'd jump down.
Listen carefully, Keiichi-san. The first step to making a trap is to watch and observe the victim. You must scrupulously predict their movement patterns, how they'll move at any given moment. If you do that, you can achieve your greatest possible results with only the most minimal trap.
Come to think of it, before Satoko read the final move on the final movement earlier, Mion had given her high praise. She had the makings of a genius. So it's all about reading the opponent. So then the traps you've caught me in before, they worked because you figured out everything I do?
Yeah, I can see right through all your actions, and that's how I set them up. So if one day you suddenly started having different habits and behavior, I wouldn't be able to anymore.
Bragging that she could anticipate everything I do. That was kind of mean. Okay then, let's play a game right now. I want you to test whether my predictions are accurate.
Yeah, it's fine with me. Keiichi-san, you are particularly easy to get a read on.
I could do it before breakfast. When we went back into the classroom, Satoko tore off pieces of paper and wrote something on the back of them, making 3 cards. Of course, I didn't know what she'd written.
Please pick one of these cards, Keiichi-san. If you do not pick one of these that says, you're a loser, you win.
Great, you're on. The club was built on the sensitivity of this stuff, so I'll smash right through these predictions. Satoko smirks and holds out the 3 cards.
Set your mind to full power by claiming it, Keiichi Maibara. Cool and collected is how you'll win.
If I don't pick the losing one, I win. Which means if I do pick it, Satoko wins. In other words, Satoko wants me to pick the losing one. What would she do to make sure I picked the losing one? Could she have predicted something like that? Statistically speaking, isn't there some rule that says I'm more likely to pick the one in the middle or the ones on the side? And then it hits me like a flash. This is what Mion would do.
Now, which one will you pick?
I've made my decision, and it is this one.
Huh? What are you doing?
I steal all 3 cards from Satoko's hands. I predicted that Satoko would do this in advance. Satoko wanted to make sure I picked the losing one, which meant all of them were losing ones. And that's how I knew. Allow me to look at all 3. I flip over 3 cards face up, and each one there is a single word. You're a loser. What is this? You're a loser? Huh?
It means just what it says. If you had only chosen one, you wouldn't have lost.
What? Then you predicted that I would draw all 3? Ugh! I held my head in my hands and fainted as Satoko revealed the might of her abilities. Her shrill laughter echoed throughout the classroom. And then there was a proof of slime powder came out down Satoko's head. I looked to see Tomie-kun and Okamura-kun, all in white, dumping a whole bag of lime powder on her, getting their revenge. The master of the mind, yeah.
Hojo, you're the one who could have set out a trick like that. Well, excuse me. Would you happen to have any proof? And I'd like it if you didn't call it something so inelegant as a trick. I would prefer you call it something more refined. A trap, please.
Payback!
Keiichi-san, help me!
Excuse me, Princess. Yeah. Our underclassmen crash around the classroom in a furious combat, getting white lime everywhere. Hey, Satoko? Why couldn't you see this coming then? At that time, I hadn't seen something coming too, though. A teacher coming to me afterwards and giving us all a stern talking to. Good shit. Good shit. Good shit. Oh, I gotta save. Saved. We did it! Pachi pachi pachi! Chapter 2 done! Woo! That was fun. Yeah, that was a good, sweet chapter. You almost forget that some bloody murder is gonna be happening. Oh, I'm so scared. Anyway. Yes. Thank you all for coming, hanging out, listening, all that good stuff. I appreciate you. Don't remind me, yeah. Ready for it? Schedule for next week should be up tonight or tomorrow morning. I'm not sure which one yet. I'm 99% sure next time we'll be streaming is Tuesday though, so I'll see you then, whatever we're doing. I haven't decided yet. If I don't see you then, I'll see you when I see you, okay guys? Bye-bye!